Alright, guys, what is going on? And, just starting this off, I just thought to myself, should that have been Christmas music for the intro? Fuck, I don't know. Like, I was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna go with my normal little intro I got planned out, but hey, it's Christmas Eve. And I didn't know if I was gonna have time to do this. 7:27 in the morning, I woke up to make time. So, yeah. But, we've got a big show because we've got baseball, a lot of baseball stuff to talk about. We got some basketball stuff that I kind of want to talk about, and football. So this podcast is going to be good. We're going to start off with everything but baseball because there's a lot of stuff to talk about baseball. I wanted to get into all of it. So, football, Gus Bradley gets fired. He went 14-48. This year he was 2-12 before they fired him. And his best year was in 2015 when he went 5-11. And to be honest, I thought this team was going to be good. Hey, I thought Bortles was going to step up. They got Telvin Smith from Florida State, favorite team in college, and they were getting all these good pieces. I just man, they might be able to do something. No, not happening. Didn't happen. So that was obviously yeah, that's not happening. So that's one thing in football, I guess you could say. But in basketball, we're gonna predict tomorrow's Christmas games. I love basketball and Christmas. Oh my gosh. So we've got the Celtics and the Knicks. Celtics are 17-13. Knicks are 16-13. And I'm going to go with the Celtics. And Isaiah Thomas is going to have a big game. Yeah, okay. And Al Horford's going to have to step up too. Once they got Al Horford, I was like, oh yeah, they're going to be so good. Not really. They were maybe a little bit above average to me. Kind of like the Knicks are, even though they got all those good players, but I still didn't think they were going to be that good. Because Derrick Rose, you didn't know how he was going to play. Joakim Noah came off a little bit of a down year plus injuries. So yeah, I was still a little worried about how the Knicks were going to play. But, they're doing all right. Now, the Warriors and the Cavaliers, the big game that everybody's going to be watching. The Warriors are 27-4. Cavaliers are 22-6. I'm not a Warriors fan. I'm not going to hate on them just because they're the Warriors, which I will, off camera. I will go out and, But I'm going to have to give it to the Warriors. Just crazy dominant season. Even though Cavaliers are amazing and LeBron James is LeBron James. But still the Warriors are going to win it. And, oh God, I want to get away from that subject. Bulls and Spurs. Bulls are 14-15. Spurs are 24-6. Spurs winning this game easily. No trouble from the Bulls, in my opinion. OKC and Minnesota. Minnesota is 9-20. OKC is 18-12. Obviously, OKC is going to win this one, and Russell Westbrook's probably going to get another triple-double. I mean, come on now. And now the game, which LA rivalry. Clippers are 22-9. Lakers are 11-22. Clippers win. Now, Lakers started off the season 10-10. They looked like they were going to do something, and now they're 11-22. Yeah, that's just been terrible for the Lakers. I don't know. They've had some injuries, obviously, but I don't know. They've just not been good at all. Come on now. So, I guess now we'll go into baseball, and we'll wait for the Edwin Encarnacion stuff. Save it for last. But first, we've got Ivan Nova re-signing with Pittsburgh on a 3-year, $26 million deal. His ERA for the year was .417. But once he got traded to Pittsburgh, he went 5-2 with a .306 ERA and 64 innings. So that's obviously way better than when he was in New York. Because when he was in New York, he wasn't doing crap. And I just gotta say, that pitching coach everybody talks about. Remember J Happ went over there from Seattle when he didn't do so good to Pittsburgh and he turned his season around? Francisco Liriano, same thing with him. Ivan Nova seems like it's going to be the same thing. But normally Pittsburgh loses that player. They never going to go out and re-sign him. Like J Happ, I'm pretty sure they would have liked him because he had an outstanding season for the Blue Jays, but they couldn't get him back. So it was weird. But they got their man in Ivan Nova. But here's the deal. They've still got McCutchen, and they still want Jose Quintana. I don't think they're trading McCutchen unless they do McCutchen for Quintana. But I feel like the White Sox want prospects. So Pittsburgh, I don't know. They're obviously not going to give up Josh Bell or any of those pitching prospects they got. So I don't know what they're going to give up to get him. I don't. But hey, Pittsburgh trying, I guess. Edwin Encarnacion signs a 5-year deal, $30 million with the Braves, with a lot of other extra numbers at the end. I just said $30 million flat, but there's more numbers added on. He had a pretty good season. He had a Gold Glove, hit .291 with 3 home runs and three homers, and 85 runs. He missed 26 games, but he rebounded and hit .341 after the All-Star break. So all in all, he had a pretty good season for the Atlanta Braves. Had 16 stolen bases. I don't know. I like to steal for the Braves. He's pretty good. A lot of people wanting him too. He's been in a lot of trade rumors since the end of the season. I doubt now that they're going to trade him. At least, if they do trade him, it'll be at the trade deadline. But I feel like they're going to need. I think the Braves are still going to sign somebody. I really do feel like they're going to do something because they want to have that big draw heading into their new stadium. No matter what, I'm still going to go to the game because I want to see what the stadium's going to look like. I think that'll be interesting to see what it looks like and everything. But yeah, I thought that was going to last a lot longer. This podcast is going to be short. Now we're going to get into the big deal. The deal that shocked the shit out of me. Edwin Encarnacion, 3 years, $65 million for the Cleveland Indians. That was not the place I thought he was going to go. In all honesty, I knew he was going to go back to the Blue Jays. Fuck, that whole situation. I mean, it was 4 years, $80 million. I would have took it. But, hey, there was this whole thing with his agent, and it's all messy, and you know what? He earned the right by having a lot. I mean, he really helped put the Toronto Blue Jays franchise back on the map as a, big franchise, I guess you could say. Him and Jose Bautista, really. But I thought he was going to go for the Rangers because I was like, yeah, Indians are a small market team. The A's offered him more money. It's like, what the hell is going on? He did not. I mean, the thing why he didn't sign with the Oakland A's is because he didn't want his family have to travel a little bit longer from, I don't know where he's from. I had it written, I forgot all of that part. But it's easier for them to travel to Cleveland and all that extra stuff. So that's fine with me. I don't know what Texas offered him, but all in all, he signs with the Cleveland Indians. Last season, oh man, .263 batting average, 42 home runs, and 127 RBIs. Since 2012, he is second in most home runs since that time period with 193. And so now, what does this mean for the rest of the slugging free agent market, basically? We got Jose Bautista out there, we've got Mike Napoli out there, we've got Mark Trumbo out there. What's happening with those three? We've heard that Jose Bautista is open to another contract with the Blue Jays. If he'll sign to a 1-year contract, but it's got to be over the offer that he got for the qualifying offer. So far, the Blue Jays have not offered him one. That might change. I don't know. The reason why most people are not signing him, besides age, was age, and it ties into the factor that they're going to have to give up a first-round draft pick. The Blue Jays get back for Edwin Encarnacion I believe it's 25th pick 25th pick for Edwin Encarnacion. So, but that's one of the reasons why people don't want to sign Jose Bautista is because that qualifying offer, they're going to have to give up a first rounder. So if he signs a 1-year deal with the Toronto Blue Jays, next season, teams might be more willing to sign him because they're not going to have to give up that first rounder for a guy who's almost 40. So it does make sense. It does. It makes sense why teams don't want to sign him because I know I'm not thinking into this. Oh yeah, he's not a good player. Dude's going to crush home runs. I don't think he's ever going to go to the National League. I think now he might start playing more of a DH type role, even though the guy's good as hell in the outfield. Just, I don't know. Maybe the age ties into it. He's a favorite player, but still, he's gonna crush pitches. It does not matter. He's gonna crush home runs out of there every time. So, Mark Trumbo, interesting story with him. The Orioles withdraw their offer for Mark Trumbo. A lot of people were surprised by that, but it was kind of the same way with Chris Davis. They had an offer, they took it off the table, and they thought he was going to go to the Cardinals. Things didn't go that way, and he goes back, signs a huge deal with the Baltimore Orioles. Maybe they're thinking of that the same way. I think, in all honesty, he goes to Colorado, plays first base. Colorado trades Charlie Blackmon somewhere. I'm thinking to the Blue Jays. I mean, the offer's gonna have to blow Colorado away because Charlie Blackmon's a great player. But the Blue Jays need an outfield bat if they're not going Jose Bautista route. I mean, they're going to, right? So why not put in a trade piece, one of your prospects? Charlie Blackmon is a great player. He's still relatively young, so you trade some prospects to get back Charlie Blackmon in the outfield where he'll shine in Toronto. I mean, it's going to help out his home run average, which, no, I don't think that's true because maybe he'd hit more in Colorado. I don't know. You both hit home runs. He hit home runs in Colorado and you hit home runs in Toronto. So that's the whole situation there. Toronto's going to have to go out and get a bad outfield bat. You're going to have to. I mean, it's quite insane why they're taking so long. But, hey, whatever. You know, when you're a Toronto Blue Jays fan, you're sitting back watching this whole Edwin Encarnacion saga and the Jose Bautista saga. You just want them to go out there and get somebody so this could end. They're still going to have to go out there and get another bullpen help because they let Brett Cecil go. Joaquin Benoit's gone. Who they got? Joe Biagini and Roberto Ozuna. Who else? Go out there, get another bullpen help. Plus, go out there and get an outfield batter. Because Steve Pearce can play both first base and outfield. So, anyway it goes, you can have switch out with Justin Smoke playing a little bit of first throughout the year. Throw Steve Pearce in the outfield. If you sign Jose Bautista, Steve Pearce can play for Jose Bautista at some point too. So this whole situation can work for the Blue Jays. But they're gonna have to go out there and either sign Jose Bautista to that 1-year deal or trade for an outfield piece. Sorry about that. Because the way it's going now, we got Ezekiel Carrera out there, which he had a good postseason. He got on base and he hit a lot. But do you really want to count on him the whole season? Hey, yeah, I don't really think about that. We got BJ Upton in the outfield as well. He had a good season for San Diego. He did pretty good when he came over to Toronto Blue Jays. So I think him and Kevin Pillar are fine, but you got to go out there and get another outfielder. I don't think you can rely on Dalton Pompey and Ezekiel Carrera. A lot of people a couple years ago would have been like, yeah, you're going to rely on Dalton Pompey. But I don't really know because he hasn't really gotten that big chance yet. I mean, maybe he can fight for an outfield spot in spring training, but that's still interesting to me. So I guess now I want to get into something. Okay, when Yoenis Cespedes signed, I got a comment that said, pitching does not matter. They wouldn't have won games without Yoenis Cespedes. I was like, whatever with that. That blew my mind that someone said pitching doesn't matter. Then when Edwin Encarnacion signed, we had a comment from Ben Burley saying, pitching gets you championships, it's not hitting. So I'm like, I've got two things that say, one, pitching does not factor into the equation for the Mets when they've got an outstanding pitching staff. I know Yoenis Cespedes has helped them out a lot, but to me, one player does not change that. To me, how you win a championship, and the Cubs did that. To me, the Cubs had the right formula. Good bullpen, good pitching staff, and good hitting. But here's the deal. They had an outstanding everything. They just, really got into it good. But me, I would get into it like the Royals. You have a good and decent hitting. Like, your lineup's pretty good. And you got one guy who, in Kendrick Morales, who can go out there and smash home runs. But you've just got a good mix of people who can get on base and has speed. That's the formula for a lineup that I would want. Pitching staff. You got to have at least one. You got to have your ace. You got to have an ace. And you got to have a solid number 2. But the big thing for me, and the Royals seemingly did it, you got to have an outstanding bullpen. That is how I would manage a team. Or if I was a GM, that's the model I would put into it to win a World Series. Now, Royals, I mean, Kendrick Morales wasn't that guy who was going to hit 40 home runs, but he had hit almost 30. So, to me, I want that guy. I will say my superstar for the lineup would be Jose Bautista for when he hit 50 home runs. Or basically now Edwin Encarnacion. That one ace, Chris Sale. The solid number 2, a guy like Aaron Sanchez or Marcus Stroman. Now, my bullpen piece would be Kenley Jansen closing, and the setup role would be like Dellin Betances. That right there is pretty good. So you would have to have exceptional, decent, and consistent hitting all around Edwin Encarnacion, and maybe a 3 and 4 and 5 that's, alright. That's not going to blow your mind, but you've got that ace who is pretty damn good, and you've got that solid number 2 piece where you can throw him out there and he's going to do his job and get you some wins. So that, to me, is a winning formula for a World Series champion. Now, what I want to know from you guys is, how would you, if you were a GM, how would you manage your lineup, your starting rotation, your bullpen, and how would you go about trying to win a World Series? Would you go like a Royals route, or would you just spend a whole shit ton of money and just get everybody you can who's outstanding and win a championship that way? To me, I like the Royals method. My method is probably not the exact same thing as Royals, but, around the same, I would say. But, yeah, so that's the podcast. This is a lot shorter than last week. It's not even going to be 20 minutes. I don't know if we're going to call it a podcast. What the fucking image says podcast, so we're going to say podcast. But I think in the next 2 weeks, Mike Napoli's going to sign with the Rangers. Jose Bautista just goes back to the Blue Jays. And Trumbo goes to Colorado or Baltimore. So that is my last thought thrown into this podcast. So with that being said, like, subscribe, and comment. Subscribe if you're new. And for the podcast next week, ask a question. And we'll throw in more time into this. But I guess Merry Christmas, and I am out. Thank you so much for watching.